Welcome back to the range. Here we're talking a little bit from Wrestlemania 26, Glendale, Arizona. And you know what? I can say that I was wrong about the restroom match. You know, the first match on the card was, you know, Show Miz versus Morrison and R-Truth. And even though that match was a squash, you know, Show Miz won.
I got that right.
But it wasn't the restroom match.
It wasn't a restroom match. I mean, I picked Show Miz to win too, but the fact that they opened WrestleMania, it showed that they really didn't care too much about their match because, you know, some people are still getting food, some people at the concession stands, or people that ordered it at home are going to bars. They might arrive a little bit late, so to put that match on first shows that it really didn't try to gather like the crowd's interest right then and there, but just something just to warm them up.
Yeah, I think so too. Like it was mainly just a setup, and I think that R-Truth and John Morrison were just basically thrown into the whole tag team match. Honestly, I think that they have potential as a rising tag team, but to get this early spotlight at WrestleMania is good for them. But I think just Miz and Big Show were just too much. You know, there's just Big Show himself alone is just too much. You know?
And you know, as you were saying, you know, I got to give this, you know, shake hands with Chris because he did predict that John Morrison was going to take the punch, and sure enough, he did. All right, the second match on the card was Randy Orton, Ted DiBiase, and Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton won that match.
Called that one too.
So did I.
And so did Rachel.
Of course, I picked Randy Orton. You know, he's my favorite wrestler in the WWE currently. Him and Kane, but the match was pretty quick, no more than about 10 minutes. You know, they had one cool spot where Randy Orton did the double DDT from the clothesline, from the second rope, so that was pretty cool. And then he did the punt on Cody Rhodes, and then reversing the Dream Street and hitting the RKO on DiBiase. So as far as Cody Rhodes with him taking the punt, I don't see what they have lined up for him in the near future, but more than likely they have a singles feud that's going to happen between Rhodes, DiBiase and Orton. Which hopefully, I wish they would have brought one of their parents, one of the parents out. You know, had like a double cross, so something like that can happen, but it didn't.
All right.
I honestly thought that it was I wish it could have been more like a handicap match, because putting DiBiase and Rhodes against each other in a triple threat setup it was like you had to watch each other's back. And you know, I think Randy Orton just took full advantage of that situation, and just being able to do that made him get the win, pretty much. You know.
Right. And next we have Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk with the Straight Edge Society, and Rey Mysterio dressed as Avatar, one of Al Snow's former characters. You know, Rey Mysterio won.
Called that one too.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio won. I really didn't care about this match. Of course, you know, the WWE, especially since Rey's loved by the fans and the little kids, you know, they got to keep that demographic and merchandise sales. They weren't about to let Rey Mysterio go into the Straight Edge, so of course they had to keep him over as a good face for the whole WWE universe. So it was pretty predictable.
Yeah, I wasn't very impressed with that match. I think that if they had done that, it would have been a complete shock to me, because if they had allowed CM Punk to get that win, then it would just like pretty much kill the 619 area. And you know, as long as like you said, Chris, a lot of kids would be pretty much ashamed, and that wrestler would just pretty much just die away in the Straight Edge Society. So, but I do feel that another wrestler will be coming on pretty soon, and that rivalry we talked about, that new faction of the Straight Edge Society will be on the rise very shortly. Maybe somebody in the draft come along and be stolen and join it. So we'll have to see about that.
Good stuff. Next we had Triple H versus Sheamus. Triple H hitting the pedigree, winning the match.
Another match that I predicted correctly.
And so did I.
And so
Brandon
did I.
did not predict correctly.
I picked correctly. That little spin some of my bitch couldn't do it.
This match was pretty. It was, you know, these type of matches are matches that Vince loved because it's, you know, it's power versus power, so it's really nothing just technical. The match was a little bit. The match was, well, a lot of the matches on the card were shorter than anticipated, and they went by pretty quickly. This match, I think, went no longer than 10 to 12 minutes. Also, Sheamus got a little bit. He got that kick. The power kick was pretty good. Of course, he kicked out. But for Triple H to just win with one pedigree and not work him even more, kind of shocked me a little bit, especially if they're trying to build Sheamus up the way they did. But it was somewhat predictable. But if they ever have a rematch at WrestleMania, more than likely, Sheamus will probably win that one.
Yeah, I definitely think that this match was like a setup for Sheamus in his early career. He was just, like Triple H said before the match, it was like a pretty much go down Phillips and claw your way back into the high life. You know, Sheamus kind of got a really big spotlight at the very beginning of this past year. He started to get the WWE Championship, and then from who was it that he beat it from? Took it. Cena, yeah. And now he continues to shine, and then he hits rock bottom, and he's starting to set up and get into a real force in the WWE. So if Sheamus continues to work hard like he always has, he'll be up there. So
Up next we have Money in the Bank. Jack Swagger winning the briefcase. Actually having a hard time getting that briefcase, right, Chris?
Yes, he did. I mean, it took him about 20 seconds to get the briefcase off, and you know, I had a little Jack Swagger moment there. But
Little question for the wrestling panel.
yeah, you picked it.
Who called that one?
Anyways,
No, I want to say, who called it?
Rachel.
And Justin. That's right. Cleveland.
Brown.
To
I
say
was
somebody don't like
surprised.
wrestling, y'all doing totally pitiful.
I was surprised by this. Jack Swagger hasn't been doing too much in the last 2 months, really since after New Year's. Hasn't really been doing too much, haven't really gave him a push. He's been wrestling Santino, and you know, Santino's just comic relief, so you would expect Jack Swagger not to get anything, but you know, with McIntyre, he had his little losing streak, you know, on SmackDown, so you figured, you know, with him having his little losing streak that something big was going to happen for him, but unfortunately it didn't. But congratulations to Jack Swagger. I mean, he got a push when he first got there, didn't make it all the way. Well, he got ECW title, but now he's getting a push for Raw, which is pretty damn good if I say so. So I think hopefully, really, I'm kind of glad now that McIntyre didn't win, because maybe they can make something better out of the Intercontinental Championship.
yeah.
And one thing I want to say to Matt Hardy, because you're up there, you know, on the ladder touching that briefcase. Yeah, you did touch a briefcase, and that's as close as you're going to get to a world or WWE championship shot.
I have a question for y'all. Just if you remember, go back to last year and Mr. Kennedy winning the Money in the Bank.
CM Punk.
Yeah, and then Cena, or it was 2 years ago then, and then CM Punk or Mr. Kennedy winning it and then losing it to Edge. Do you see a similar situation coming off for Jack Swagger?
There's a reason why they took it off of Mr. Kennedy. It's called wellness policy.
In violations.
That's the only reason why he lost it. So he messed his push up completely.
All right. Have a few more matches we're going to talk about. We'll be right back here on the range. Stay tuned.
Wow.